Oseo.
Oseo.
Cherokee greeting. I'm starting right off today with a poem from Michael McClure, the late Michael McClure. And it is, in honor of blackness is her body. Sure, let us celebrate the black side of joy. Let us drown the cup of cheer in the barrel full of wine. Let us see the wildflower's face, all mauve and purple and bright yellow. Flattened by the pages of a book, the spider is also pressed there, who was once happy chasing flies. I worship all that is black. To be alive is a shock, like listening to the banshee singing inside of a rock. Thank you, Michael. The next thing, I'm making an announcement here. You can look at this little display. Thursday, that is June 18th, very close to the summer solstice of the 21st, was the birth of a white buffalo calf. This took place in Bitterroot, Montana. Now, of course, this is because it's around the summer solstice, is particularly considered auspicious and does give, kind of a footstep towards my theme today. The 21st is also the arising of the constellation of the Pleiades, and that is bringing the great white buffalo constellation. The Pleiades is the head of the buffalo constellation as it's rising. And here, if you can look right here, my illustration of this constellation in the form of a white buffalo. Now, right here is the constellation. I use the Navajo form for the constellation called Tilyehi. And so that's the head right there. And the Japanese cars called Subaru is the same thing. That is the constellation Pleiades. Incidentally, the big star in their logo is Alcyone. Alcyone is the mother of we Cherokees. And then up here, this is the three stars in Orion, and that is the back for the buffalo in this constellation. And then here, this is the star Rigel, so that makes the girth, or the like the rib cage for it, like that. And then all the way to the end is the star Sirius for the tail of the buffalo there. And here, this would be the morning star in my illustration. Up here, I've put this shield up here to stand for, at this time, the emphasis on the head of the buffalo. Now, this is a shield that's made by young Lakota women. So just to say that here in Native America, there still is the integrity to our ancient ways. And in this case, young women are initiated, I'll call it, into the particular society for the white buffalo. And this particular shield has actually been made by Lynette L. Likaleli. And so, Kayla, I can say that right, like that, 21 years ago. And in that, the jingle, she's probably a jingle dancer there, and the hair is probably her hair. And then there's a couple of eagle, light, fluff feathers for that. And the white above it is to stand for the white buffalo. So all this, there is a whole particular way that making these shields is governed. They're not just making it up. So all of this, here is the shield of a young woman initiated into the continuance our particular buffalo societies. And here I have it to stand for Now, the rising of the head of the great white buffalo constellation. And for that, I'll start off with this reading. Imagine this stellar buffalo's head as the brightest star in the night sky, a rolling star ball coming toward us, then hovering overhead. Imagine its white streams of light beaming down on top of my head with loving energy. Imagine this white healing light coming down over my shoulders, down over my body, as it touches each part of me, relaxing, loving, protecting. Now this white, downy softness envelops this body with a ball of white light energy of true goodness. And I am protected in the buffalo's robe of white light, where only good energies can come into this sphere of the white buffalo star constellation, which Apipitekasan. So there you can see the importance and the meaning of this. For the next 6 months or so, we have this over us, protecting us and guiding us. The white buffalo, great white buffalo constellation, is the oversoul of Turtle Islands, Native America. It is the archway for the good red road, Chankuluta. And it unifies all of spiritual's features. And it maintains an equilibrium in spite of any interruptions to its stasis. The oversoul is conceived as a spiritual being whose nature can be perfectly realized by humans. This is also called transcendentalist philosophy. And Ralph Waldo Emerson was one of our American people of advancing this philosophy of transcendentalism. So that's really part of it. So all of this that I've brought to illustrate here in this way. This figure here, this is in the gesture Yawankal, to raise up, to lift up. So this is the way that we can activate our, we'll call it our prayers, our aspirations in our relationship. So I have this figure here, just like this. Let me step aside. And this here, this is a shield that is signifying when we're saying the red road, the good red road, the Chankaluta. This is our spiritual way that we have maintained, recognized an integrity of living in the right way. Let me read this piece that I have on this shield. This is called the Harmony Road. After our moon mother at her sacred place, still small, appears, and she now, yonder in the east, standing fully grown, makes her nights. Now listen, our spring children, whoever truly desires in your heart to live long life happiness, taking prayer meal, taking white shell, taking corn pollen, lifting up with prayers, one by one shall make their roads go forth. May your road be fulfilled. That is from the Akshui. The Akshui are who the Americans are calling the Zuni. Thank you. Now this illustration here is it's from a petroglyphs somewhere in Arizona. What it signifies is the what do you call the Nebula, the nebula, I think they call it Great Nebula or something like that. And about 1,000 years ago, exactly 1054, it appeared. It appeared in the pre-dawn in the constellation of the Great White Buffalo. The Great White Buffalo constellation is also in the house of Taurus at the same time. Now, in the Pueblos, they have sky watchers or star watchers. They are very expert in watching for things unusual, maybe omens, something like that. So here we're looking at, in the Hopi Pueblo, I don't know which one, but the star watcher or sky watcher in that early morning, he suddenly is seeing something appearing there in the horizon where the Pleiades is coming up. At first, it is appearing in multiple colors, red and yellow and green, with all it's very colorful, until it gets higher, and then it becomes more brighter, like that. He's never seen anything like this before, and it stays that way for about 2 weeks, and then, surprisingly, on July 4th, it seems to explode in that it expands hugely. I guess they call it the Great Star Nebula. And it stays that way for quite a long time. And eventually it sort of gets dimmer, but it still is visible for about 2 years. So at the same time was the waning crescent moon. And so this has been figured in this way. There, this is my picture of the petroglyph signifying the star nebula in the constellation of the Great White Buffalo over 1,000 years ago. All the knowledge of this specifically has come from the Chinese and the Japanese, who have kept, excellent records about it. And all of that. The modern astronomers can reckon so much now, by, earlier knowledge and so forth. In fact, even in that way, that this Great Buffalo constellation they have reckoned has been available to us here in Native America for the past 3,000 years. Now, over here, what I have here, this is a very old Hopi basket. And this basket is Yung Gukkapo, and it's made of rabbit brush or seaweed. And it's very, very old. The rim is finished with yucca leaves. And it's very, very interesting because this kind of basket is not known in the archaeology of the ancient Anasazi, which I reckon is around 1,500 years ago. So they don't see it in there. We were in Arizona acquainted with one of the women of this society called the LeConte of the Water Clan. So what's interesting about this is this kind of basket was brought by the LeConte Society, the Women's Society of the Water Clan. Had never been here before then. And that's reckoned, 600 to close to 700 years ago in the record. We know from our Hopi friendships in Arizona, while we were there several years ago, that they had a private ceremony recalling the time where they, this clan or group of people, came up the Sea of Cortez to the mouth of the Colorado then. And from there that they proceeded to the Hopi Mesas. And so the archaeology record where these baskets appear around 700 years ago, we can have a pretty good idea that this clan, probably the last of the clans, arrived here, to Oribe, or the center place. The baskets like this are unique, and the Hopi themselves are coming, their ancestors are coming from the east part of the Nile Delta overlooking the Sinai. The other baskets that resemble these, if not exactly, I saw in the archaeology photographs of Katal Hayak in southern Turkey. Very, very old, much older than here. So that's an idea of where this basket's likely to have come from. And this society, the Lakot Society, has continued to make these baskets and plaque baskets. There on the second mesa is one of the main places for this basket making. I have here in the center of it, these are pajos, or they're talking prayer sticks. And these are particularly deposited in the shrine on the summer solstice for the sun. So that's why I have put all of that together there. Ancient Hopi basket, and these pajos, these offerings to the sun. I'm educated in Cherokee, and a lot of what I speak here is my coherence from that education. The English Americans largely, and their anthropologists largely, are under a fantasy of aborigines, savages, and all other kinds of things like that, and do not follow through in investigations of who people really are, who are here in this country, and how that we become Native Americans in our relationship to the great ancestress of Turtle Island. And for this, I'm reading a poem from Mary Oliver. I know many people out there and like Mary Oliver. And she's very, very accommodating in my themes, if you noticed. And this one is Moccasin Flowers. All my life, so far, I have loved more than one thing, including the mossy hooves of dreams, including the spongy litter under the tall trees. In spring, the moccasin flowers reach for the crackling lick of the sun and burn down, sometimes in the shadows. I see the hazy eyes, the lamb lips of oblivion, its deep drowse, and I can imagine a new nothing in the universe. The matted leaves splitting open, revealing the black planks of the stairs. But all my life, so far, I have loved best how the flowers rise and open, how the pink lungs of their bodies enter the fire of the world and stand there shining and willing. The one thing they can do before they shuffle forward into the floor of darkness, they become the deep blue night. Thank you.